No, it's
I
okay. You
do.
don't. Okay,
I
please.
do.
Go. Yeah, go
I do.
ahead.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
We need somebody, a leader that's not gonna.
Well,
You
ma'am,
know,
have you got me a follow yet? Because I'm the big dog. I'm the leader here. So
you and
Jeff,
I,
Jesus
you and I,
Christ.
hang on.
you and I are,
Yeah,
you and I are gonna agree to disagree.
Okay, that you did so
Right?
well then.
It-
It took you 10 minutes to say that, but that was
No,
okay.
it didn't.
Tap out, Brie.
Well, it took you a lot longer than it should have. Would you agree?
Cowboy.
No.
Hold on. Can I just call you Cowboy? How do I refer to you as?
Yeah, yeah. Go
Cowboy.
ahead.
Okay. All right. You haven't really given an answer. You said we need like some type of leader. I want to know what qualifications does Trump has that are leader-like to the extent that it's going to bring the country to a good
Kamala
place.
have? What does
He
Kamala have?
he has character. She has policy.
So when it comes to leadership qualities, not only does Harris have a notable track record in the public sector of being able to field a variety of people around limited finances, limited available.
Please, let her and I go back and forth. Thank you.
What? Why? Wait, Jeff. Why? Hold on.
Yeah, because I think we had a connection here just for a second.
She
You have a
what
couple
has-
seconds, and I'm kicking you both at this point. Honestly.
Well,
What's up,
crime
Kitty?
was-
What has she done? What has she done
Yeah,
for the last 4
she's-
years?
well, she was a tiebreaker for the Inflation Reduction Act. She
Oh,
was
okay.
She was
Okay.
the border czar. Yeah.
She hasn't done nothing
Wait, I just
for
said
this
she-
country.
I
Nothing.
just told you she did something, so I disagree with that.
She hasn't done nothing.
Wait, okay, so what is nothing?
She's done nothing. Our country is horrible. Our country is horrible.
Probably because you live in it. Probably, I would
Is it?
imagine.
And
Man,
you don't
no
live in
offense.
this country?
Your
And you don't live
arguments-
in this
yeah,
country?
and I make it a lot better because I'm voting for Kamala. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm voting for Trump and to make our country good.
Thank you. So you just walked right into the point. And my dear, it's okay. It's okay. Go to bed for the night. Call it quits. It's okay. Kamala's going to win in the morning, and maybe it might take a couple of extra days too. How do you feel about that?
So you're ready to go to war? Ready to go to
Okay.
war?
All right. Let's get back on the
War.
conversation. I need specific things from Trump that you find to be
All right, she came up- yeah, that's-
qualitatively
Trump
or quantitatively better than what you find President
Trump-
Harris.
Trump is
my
what,
friend, she cannot keep
what
up
we
with that.
need.
We can have a conversation anyways.
These people are disgusting.
That was the worst, ma'am. That was the worst argument I've ever heard. And I
Jeff, let them finish.
Well, trust me, if they finished, I would let them know. Trust me, because
Oh.
when you're the big dog, go ahead.
Exactly. You guys are disgusting. You guys have nothing.
You goys?
Just
Are you
saying.
saying guys or goys?
Whatever. Bye. See ya. I don't want
fine.
to deal with you.
Not. Yeah, thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, for your benefit, I will kick Jeff for a second, and then we can have a conversation if you want to have, because I'm feeling a little bit more charitable and in a good mood than I have the past few days. Specifically, I need specifics as to why
I just
Trump.
don't understand why we're so divided. Why are we so divided?
Yeah, I would
the
say
country.
the advent of that division started first and foremost when Trump entered his campaign in 2015 and 2014, when he started using a much more aggressive language when talking to his other Republican opponents, creating names, nicknames, being derogatory, using that type of aggressive business tactic in order to put down people around him, not even talking about the way he treated Democrats or people who are of his political opposition, but even the people he was going alongside with and competing. That created a pretty toxic attitude, and a lot of people absorbed that. They saw an excitement in the political sphere, and it was someone that they could rally behind, that they could get some of their anger and frustration out on. And that was kind of the start of that. And from that, we saw this explosion, since Trump realized that was an effective tactic, an explosion of a lot of other language he's utilized to create certain monolithic groups, demonize said groups such as immigrants, saying that they're violent, they're criminals, they're rapists, they're whatever. And he's continued to engage in this type of divisive language. When you compare it to really Biden or Harris or really anyone on the Democratic ticket, on any level from the federal to the local, they tend to be much more reserved. They talk about the importance of unity. They talk about political disagreements, but the importance of coming together. The Democrat Party has regularly tried to be Big Tent, and the Democratic Party has even ousted some progressives that I would align with, that I would appreciate if they had more power, because those progressives have been more focused on principled politics rather than big tent strategy. So the idea that the Democrats have been the primary engine for division is just not true. It's been Trump.
Okay, I respect you for saying that, but we all have our own opinions, right?
Yes, and opinions matter because those opinions enforce your actions, and those actions influence the lives of other people. So when you say we all have our own opinions, that's fine, but those opinions need to be good. You have a moral obligation for the opinions you hold to be well evidenced.
But wait, you have your own opinions and we have our own opinions. Am I right?
Yes, and what did I just say?
I know you just said we have two people, okay? And I'm saying I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat. And
I'm voting Democrat.
well,
I wouldn't call
know
myself
you
a typical Democrat. I disagree with a lot of Democrat stuff. But I find it a vote for Donald Trump doesn't make sense under any political paradigm. Any cohesive political framework excises a lot of the different elements.
Why though?
Because Trump is a volatile populist. Trump tries to capture a lot of vague sentiments of the fears and woes of particular pockets of the American population.
And you don't think Kamala is?
No. Kamala, by the way, is a neoliberal, your standard center-left neoliberal looking to continue with American capitalist dominance, free trade, healthy markets, social equity. She's very predictable in all the policies she's pushed for. She's very similar to Biden. There's nothing she's doing or has even requested the past couple of years to be done that steps outside anything like the status quo.
So you're ready to go to war because of her?
Why do you think that she would cause a war?
Because that's what's going to come.
I need to know why you think that.
Because I think these other countries have no respect for us. We're laughing stock. We're laughing.
You know, they've taken polls, surveys of people in other countries to see what are their attitudes towards different presidential candidates or presidents in the past here in the U.S., and it is almost unanimous that there is a negative and a gross perception that the world has towards Trump compared to really any other candidate. The idea that Trump creates any type of respect from the world to America is not true.
Tell me why you hate Trump so bad. Tell me why you hate Trump so bad.
Okay, we can jump to another point. It seems like you're just not responding to any point that I bring up or any point that I respond to of yours. If you're talking about why I hate Trump, the primary reasons why I think Trump are reprehensible is, one, I think his moral character is so unbelievably flawed for someone who is in the position that he's in, meaning someone who is at the head of a primary party of the United States. He is someone who has no respect for women in terms of the way he talks about them, the way he treats them. He's been held civilly liable for sexual assault. He's sexualized his own daughter. He's sexualized a 10-year-old. He's walked into the changing rooms of young girls and young women in his pageants. He's bragged about doing so, said his daughter's a piece of ass. When it comes down to the way he talks about immigrants, he has made flagrant, disgusting remarks towards immigrants. He's called for a Muslim ban, a group that's already marginalized and attacked here in the U.S. He's done so many other things that compromise his moral character. That's simply one thing. The second thing is that he's destabilizing for this nation and any progress that could occur within this nation. His actions on January 6th, his fomentation of those actions around how January 6th occurred, happened because of his lack of respect for the transfer of power being peaceful. That is the issue.
Do you have kids?
I don't have kids, no.
So if you were to have a daughter, would you want your daughter to go into a bathroom with another
At some
guy?
point, yeah, it'd probably be healthy to go into a bathroom.
That okay. but
With a guy? No, probably not. Mm-mm.
Okay, so you're okay with her making all the transgender and stuff? Because that's just weird to me.
I'm okay with trans women going into their respective bathrooms. I think that trans women don't. We could talk more about this conversation. I have a feeling you know nothing about trans people. You don't even understand the difference between sex and gender. You know nothing about the specific policy prescriptions. You don't know anything about the empirics behind this. What demographics it impacts most. You don't. I guarantee you don't.
Do.
You don't. You absolutely don't. Okay, I'll just ask you some random questions.
Go ahead.
All right. What is androgen insensitivity?
You know what? I don't want to talk to you. I'm done.
Then get the fuck off, loser.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
I don't know why. Was that a real person? Was that a? Oh, it's a body. Sorry, I didn't see your. You didn't even. Oh, never mind. You didn't even request, but I invited you anyways. Holy shit! That was a real person who just turned that quickly. Absolutely insane. Jesus. Cowboy, please have an ounce of intelligence. Please do an ounce of research.
They fail so much at that, though.
They do. They really do. How's it going?
Good. How about for you?
I'm tired, and I've honestly tried to avoid going on lives because I feel like I wouldn't be in a good mood. What's up, Jason?
So, are you a Democrat or you just voted for Kamala?
I'm voting for Kamala. I don't know why it's so hard to pronounce her name correctly. I can't tell how intentional it is or how much it's just
Kamala?
people. Kamala, yeah.
Kamala, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, why are you? Is there like something she did that you like, or?
No, I don't find any significant candidate that the Democrats have put up as their mainstayer for the past ever to be that compelling or interesting for what I care about. I simply think that Trump is one of the worst possible conceivable candidates within presidential history. I don't know if you heard what I was saying earlier, but from any political paradigm, I think he makes no sense. I think the idea of having an entirely incohesive candidate who is entirely morally bankrupt and actively contributes to the destabilization of any healthy processes within our system is a bad candidate. Yeah, sure.
Can I talk for 30 seconds? Well, did you just say Trump was bankrupt?
Morally bankrupt.
Morally bankrupt.
Well, he's not bankrupt. He's actually a very rich businessman. Also,
I don't care.
Life was amazing. Let me talk for 30 seconds. Life was actually amazing during 2016 to 2020. We had the best economy. Life was good. Prices were low. Gas was low. As soon as Biden stepped into office, everything went to hell. Also, y'all say you wouldn't support a felon, but y'all literally built a statue for George Floyd, bro. Like, what? Trump is a high IQ businessman who's actually fit for president. Kamala is not fit for president. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
That's 30 seconds. Sorry, your time is finished. You talked for 30. You talked for 30 seconds. 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 You said a lot of things, and there's a reason why you wanted to say a lot of things, because you understand that probably every point you made is incredibly stupid, and you didn't want to make them all within a dialogue. You wanted to just ramble out in a gish gallop. You said a couple of stupid things. Yes. So you said a couple of stupid things there. One, you talked about when you talked about that our recognition of George Floyd as a victim of police brutality, I would not, if George Floyd were still alive and he were running for president, I would say, I don't know what that person is my president. Period. All right. George Floyd was probably not a great person. He did some bad shit in the past. It looks like in general he was trying to improve his life. Good for him. Unfortunate that it was snuffed out before he had any chance to improve it further. He was executed by a police officer, and that was incredibly wrong. And he is an icon of a broader police system, which is not respecting those people, those minorities who regularly have to experience that discrimination on a day-to-day basis. That's the fundamental issue. So the idea that you're comparing George Floyd to the mainline person in your party, the person who represents your party, who you want to give access to the nuclear codes, who you want to be the commander-in-chief of the military, is entirely nonsensical.
Was he a bad president? Was the economy bad?
Yes.
Yes or
yes,
no?
he was a bad president.
So the economy economy was bad under Trump? Yes or no?
No, the economy was fine under
Obama.
Trump.
It was fine under Trump. Okay, and as soon as the libtard Biden stepped in, everything.
Whoa! Stop! No, I don't like those. And this applies to like MAGA T stuff too. I don't like that suffix on it. It has too many ableist allusions. Use better language. Use more responsible language. Feel free to talk. I just want to let you be aware of that. I invite you to turn your mic back on. Cool.
Okay, do you understand that a trans man should not play in women's sports? Like, it's not
Wait,
natural.
I need you. See, this is what I mean, because you're kind of representative of Trump in your own character. Trump is entirely uncohesive. He doesn't build any scaffolded, well orchestrated vision for what he wants for America. In the same way, you can't build any
wants to make it great
scaffolded
again.
vision of why you think Trump is a qualified president. You're jumping around from point to point to point. I need to stay on something. You talked about the economy. Let's talk about the economy. What did Trump do in your mind that caused such a great economy? And why did it deviate significantly from the trajectory the economy was already on? And then what did Biden do to disrupt that?
Well, Trump actually was respected by every leader of countries. Russia,
I need a specific
North Korea.
action that he did to the economy.
Huh?
I need a specific action that he did to contribute to the health of the economy beyond what Obama did.
I don't know.
Yeah. So then,
But it
how
was
do you-
better.
Are you a real person? You must be like an advanced Chat GPT Russian bot, because the fact that you come up here and you say such absurd shit, and then when challenged in the most basic, elementary way, something that a fucking toddler could do, your response is just, I don't know.
Well, I hope you know that Trump's going to win tomorrow. He's going to save this country from libtards. So, Trump 2024.
Jason.
See you guys.
See you,
Trump's gonna win
Jason.
tomorrow. Hey,
See you,
Trump's gonna
Jason.
win. Trump's gonna
I hope
win.
you. I know you
Trump's
didn't
gonna win.
record it, but I
Hey,
hope you
I
watch
will
this
come back
back,
to
and I
your
hope you
account.
watch
I'll
this
see how
back
you
and
cry.
realize how absolutely pathetic of a person you are.
Just so you know,
it's
he will
insane.
win. He
It's
will win.
insane the fact that you can speak like this without any ounce
He
of
will win,
reflexivity
just so you know,
or
he will win. He will-
self-reflection. And by the way, come back. I actually don't think he's going to win. I used to be pretty balanced. I thought it was 50-50. I now am giving Harris like a 52% chance of winning, which is pretty good. And hopefully I will win that prediction there. Holy shit. What a dumbass.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
with the 3-year-olds.
it's Ryan, right? I think Ryan's her name.
Yeah,
up, Lamari?
Ryan.
No, Ryan. Is it
That
Brian or
hurt.
Ryan?
It's Ryan.
Ryan, yeah. What's up, man? How's it going?
That hurt.
All right.
So, real quick. What's your main, or give me 3 main points on why you think she should, like why you would endorse her?
I mean, the one main point is that every single aspect of her character and her policy platform is better than Trump. Literally every single one. If you're talking for specific qualifications, she seems to have pretty strong pose and presentation. She seems to carry herself pretty well. Compared to the past certain amount of time, I think we do need a leader who is articulate, who is coherent, who's able to speak well. I think we need someone who continues to extend towards the, although she's pulled back from some of them, unfortunately, the more progressive policies that look towards healthcare and a lot of other things that are essential for a healthy American population. I can name a couple more if you want to. I don't find Harris to be a particularly inspiring candidate. I think her racial and gender makeup is somewhat relevant. I think it'll be helpful to break through the mold where people have this almost affirmative action bias towards old white dudes because they have only experienced old white dudes as president, and now that becomes a selecting out factor for a lot of POC and women who would want to occupy the office. So there's some cool shit there that I think is valuable, but I don't find Harris to be particularly inspiring outside of that. I just think Trump's dog shit.
Interesting.
Would you like my answer?
Sure, go ahead.
Cool. So I am pro. I agree with her 2A reform ideas, women's bodily autonomy being protected, and I definitely support the way that she is trying to help out small businesses, startup, and entrepreneurs.
Are we just going around the room?
Well,
Fucking AA meeting.
here's
Sure,
my
Ryan, go for it.
I can't possibly vote for anybody that regurgitates fascist rhetoric. So I think that's just pretty definitive right there. If we're going to look at this like as a strictly like policy-based position, I very much appreciate the idea of not allowing medical debt to be reflected on your credit score. It's a phenomenal policy position to have. That is something that many Americans would benefit from. I find like her the want to increase housing units in the country. This is something that we definitely need because there is a shortage. We've seen in the past that providing first-time homeowners with tax credits has been beneficial. We did this under the Obama administration. She wants to expand this. I think that's great. Providing forgivable loans to people that want to open up new businesses. I think that's great. She's got a lot of policies that really are beneficial to the middle class.
For sure. So here's what I'm wondering, right? So if she's been in office for 3.5 years, how come a lot of these things you guys are mentioning?
What is
hold
the
on, let me
job
finish.
of the vice president?
But people keep saying that, but she literally said when
Right.
asked. Hold on, let me finish because I let y'all speak. So let me speak. So when she was asked, what would you do differently? She said she wouldn't do nothing differently.
So do you know why
Hold on,
that
let me
is?
finish.
No,
I'm
do you
not
know
done.
why? Do you know why that is? Why she had to say that?
I'm not done. Hold on, let me finish.
No,
And then same with Biden.
I need to,
Biden
and
also
this is
said
brought
that
up
they
so
made
many
decisions
times, though,
together.
dude. You don't
decisions
seem
together,
to
bro.
understand. You don't seem to understand like the basic like optics that is like a sitting vice president, right? Like a sitting vice president can't just be like, hey, nope, all of these things that Biden did were wrong. They're like, God, I feel like just with an iota of critical thought, you would be like, no, that makes sense. I mean, I understand that while she may have technically been president for 85 minutes, she couldn't just do all these sweeping things during that time period.
What a fucking loser. That's plenty of time.
Right?
Oh my
So for
god.
those 85 minutes, the country didn't burn to the ground. So I think we're okay.
All right, look, for sure. I see what you're saying, right? Vice president, whatever. She wasn't the head, whatever. She couldn't make the decision. But bro, listen. I personally feel like if she becomes president, a lot of simple things are not going to be there. Like, for example, free speech, the First Amendment.
Oh my
It's
God.
literally
What has she
been
said
proven.
that's attacked that?
Hold on. It's literally been proven that under her administration with Biden, they literally hit stuff. Like I said, especially
Where has it
They
been
hit
proven?
stuff?
Hunter
What do you
Biden
mean?
laptop. The Hunter Biden laptop. Why
Where
did
has
they?
it been proven?
Just to
That's literally been proven in the Twitter files. When
Okay.
Elon wasn't the owner of Twitter, and then that's literally bro. You can literally look this up. This is not a lie. Like I don't know why people.
Just to be clear, the Hunter
prove.
Biden. Just to be clear, the Hunter Biden laptop happened, and the concealment of it happened under the Trump administration. There were specific requests made in order to take it down by intelligence officials because the publishing of it was actually violating some laws. So because his dick was on there, man.
Hey, Maury, do you know like what the First Amendment specifically protects you from and for?
No, educate me. Go ahead. Tell me.
No, I mean I'm not asking this to be like a dick. I'm genuinely asking you if you like understand the specifics of the First Amendment.
Well, I mean, face value, free speech. Right?
Okay.
Meaning
Oh my
you
God!
can-
Wait, no! We give a fucking answer. No, are you serious? You just
That is my
advocated. No,
Okay.
you just advocated for free speech. Why is it something that's so integral? It's the First Amendment part of it. Why is it something that's so integral to us as a nation?
Because we should not be silenced, no matter what we think.
Okay, so
Right?
for the First Amendment protects your right to free speech. It protects your right to freedom of religion. It protects your right to
Yeah.
protest. Right. So what it specifically says is that Congress shall pass no law. Right. That's how it starts. That's how the First Amendment starts. Congress shall pass no law, meaning that Congress cannot pass a law that says you're not allowed to say certain things towards the government, right?
Okay.
The government can say Facebook, you need to crack down on people spreading misinformation about a pandemic that's costing people their lives, which is what kind of happened here. When you agree to a social media website, when you sign up on HelloFresh, doesn't matter what website, you agree to something called a TOS, a Terms of Service. And in some cases, it's called a EULA, an End User Licensing Agreement. In that, it has very specific parameters about what you can do, what you can't do, what you can say, what you can't say.
Yeah.
That's not somehow infringing on your freedom of speech whatsoever. You can't just go on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or MySpace and just say whatever the hell you want to say, because you'll get banned. That's not infringing upon your freedom of speech.
I do get that. That's a fair point. So then how come all the people, spreading the misinformation about Project 2025 or saying that Trump wants to just ban abortion overall
if his
when those
name-
two things are
Wait. Okay. You're not even. I'm going to help you here for a quick second. The conversation about what the government did. And specifically, it's not even the Hunter Biden stuff because that wasn't even the government at that point. But if you're talking specifically about the COVID stuff, because there was actual governmental recommendations, by the White House and by intelligence agencies to take shit down, and none of that shit was necessarily a violation of any law. So that's an important question to have. What's the issue with that? The problem is that while it's not necessarily unconstitutional, it does violate the spirit of the law. That's a criticism you can make. How to feel that, how to feel a violation of the spirit of the Constitution versus how to deal with public health safety. And I feel like in general, the Biden-Harris administration did a pretty good job by saying, hey, we're not going to put too much pressure, but we do want to ensure that social media companies are fully aware of the impact that's going on with a lot of this misinformation. That was during a pandemic where hundreds of thousands of people were dying. There was a threat to our health system. There was risk of recession. There was risk of so many other things. Compared to Project 2025, how are you comparing significant COVID misinformation to what? What about 2025?
I think the thing you're levying here, Maury, is that you're comparing like, well, people were posting these things on Facebook regarding the pandemic, but they're also posting these things about Project 2025, right? So Donald Trump, we can agree on this, that Donald Trump is one of, if not the most litigious individuals in the country. He has sued people for very, very little, right? So Donald Trump's name is in Project 2025 312 times. If he wanted his name removed from it, he could just sue the Heritage Foundation, but he hasn't. All of the leaked training videos that were found, that ProPublica has published, are all filmed around a second Trump administration. His name is mentioned in it a number of times. If you were to sign up for the Heritage Foundation's little training camp that they have, they actually push it as though you are signing up for a second Trump administration. So we can pretend that Trump isn't connected to it or that he's disavowed it, but he hasn't pushed for his name to be removed. He's been the keystone speaker several times for the Heritage Foundation. During his previous administration, he did several things that are central tenets of Project 2025, e.g. the rescheduling of Schedule F jobs, or the reclassification of Schedule F jobs, rather, which the only reason that's no longer a thing is because Biden rescinded that executive order.
That didn't materialize just because it was at the end of his presidency. It barely existed.
These are things that are real, true and factual. And even if you want to pretend for a moment that Donald Trump is not connected to Project 2025, it is impossible to deny that J.D. Vance is not connected to Project 2025. And you are effectively voting for J.D. Vance to be president because Donald Trump is 78 years old, and he's probably not going to make it 4 more years.
I mean, he looks pretty healthy to me, but I don't know. I
would love to play a game with you where I read a Donald Trump quote verbatim, and then you tell me what the question was.
Wait, say that again?
That's fine. Do you understand why it's absurd for you to bring up Project 2025 when you're talking about a disparity between accountability expected by the U.S. government on social media companies?
So look, because I feel like you misunderstood me a tad bit, which like the whole COVID stuff, that's a fair point. Like 100%. A pandemic is happening. I see why they would want to, hide or basically take away like misinformation, because that's important for sure. People's lives are at stake. But what I mean is, like, I feel like when Trump is being attacked, a lot of that information just passes by very easily. Whereas
Same thing with Harris.
Maybe
I don't
so.
see any suppression of
Okay,
any
what
of the
about
dog
legacy
shit going
media?
to Harris. Yeah.
Like-
what do you mean? What do you mean? When is?
All right,
Well,
so
one
look-
is it's important
wait,
to
hold on,
distinguish.
hold on.
Wait, hold on. No, this is important. It's important to distinguish between a publisher and a platform. You know the difference, right?
Yes.
Okay, so to say that a publisher should be expected to post shit without editorializing based upon their media interests and comparing that to a platform actively suppressing stories or posts or things like that, those are two entirely different things.
I understand that, but there's literally, you could look up clips where they'll literally take Trump out of context and try to make him look like this horrible person.
Same thing with Harris. It's the media environment. If you want to be
But-
on X, if you want to be on X or Twitter for half a second, that's literally all that occurs.
I'm talking about legacy media, like live television. You know what I'm
Look
saying?
at
Like,
Fox News.
That's the
Do you know
only
anything
one
about the
you can
Dominion? Hold on. Do you know anything about the Dominion lawsuit?
mention. Never heard of that. No, what is that?
Okay.
So the Dominion
Why do you
lawsuit was a lawsuit where Dominion sued Fox News to the tune of what it was at $800 million for the intentional lies that they gave about the Dominion voting machines. Fox News perpetuated lies that Donald Trump created, that the voting machines that Dominion had for the 2020 election were broken or flawed or rigged or whatever, and that caused a significant downturn in the Dominion stock. Well, we can have that conversation if you think so, but just to be very, very clear about the Dominion case, during that lawsuit, it was determined that Fox News didn't just lie, they knowingly lied, and they continued to lie, even though everyone at Fox News, they had what's called a brain room, where fact checkers would literally go through the information around stories Fox News was interested in publishing and determine how much of it was true. And that brain room constantly was marking this as false, as incorrect. They knew it, Tucker Carlson knew it, everyone at Fox News knew it, but they continued to publish these things specifically because they were losing viewership to Newsmax and OAN. That is the issue. To compare legacy media, you think clipping out of context or prioritizing certain stories, to the intentional lies brought forward by Fox News when they knew they were lying explicitly about these things, is insane.
That's 100%. And that's not a right thing to do. But that's, you see what I mean? Like all those other huge television companies do the exact same. So I guess it's a problem. Just
No,
all around.
the point is every single flaw you try and point out, which does happen. Sometimes legacy media takes things out of context. They're biased in their reporting, not as honest. That shit happens. Sure, that's fine. The point is everyone does it, and all of the examples that you point to, I can point to something else on the right by some right-leaning institution that they've done literally 10 times worse.
So how about millions of and look, because this is not, I feel like people always think once you bring up immigrants, they're strictly racist. I'm Latino, bro. I wasn't even born in this country, right? My parents are immigrants, all of that.
Do you see how you just hop around? Like, I brought up a specific thing about you making the claim that the Democrats or the left or something like that creates a culture of suppression, of misinformation, of all these different things. Yet any example that you've tried to bring up, and you didn't even bring up any specific examples, but the examples you tried to bring up pale in comparison to what's happened in the right-leaning media apparatus.
How do they pale in comparison when all you can name me is one company, Fox News, but I can name you like ABC, CNN,
Fox, OAN, Newsmax.
Yep.
Those aren't even, bro. I haven't even heard of the other two that you're talking about. Like they're not even. Maybe they're doing the same thing. I'm not trying to say they're not.
The reason is because
most people watch these huge companies. So when they see stuff and they get spread this misinformation, especially older heads that may not be on social media, and they grew up believing just anything the news say. That is horrible, bro. And like I said,
Yeah,
it's not,
the difference is they're not even
Fox News to do
close. When it comes to reliability and reputation, they're not even close. Like, if you want to compare the accuracy in reporting something like AP compared to Fox News, especially the tabloid shit on Fox News, they're not even in the same ballpark.
I would like to point out
AP,
as
New York
well, yeah.
Times, other organizations will publish retractions for the most minor shit that they get wrong.
AP and Reuters are both incredibly respected and independent news organizations that people like Fox News buy their news from.
All right, so can I try to move on to the immigrant stuff I was going to say?
Sure, but I mean,
That
I
is
hope
a
you
huge
can. I
point.
hope you can zoom out a little bit and see that you're just jumping around points without
Before-
reflecting on anything that we're saying, or trying to analyze or renegotiate your beliefs based upon what we're saying. The fact that you can't respond to what we're saying.
Well,
Before you say
that's
anything
not
about
true.
the border, I would like to point out that over the past 4 years, there have been 8 separate pieces of legislation that have been introduced into Congress, each of which would have done something to address the border crisis that is going on. However, each and every single one of those times, Republicans have either filibustered it in the Senate or shot it down entirely in votes. So the Republican Party cannot view the border as that much of a crisis if they are not willing to do even one thing that would alleviate any of these stressors that you all feel actually exist. So if we're going to talk about the border, we need to talk about it in its totality, because the Republicans don't seem to think that it's as much of an issue as their constituents do.
So then how come when he was in his first term, there weren't millions and millions and millions of undocumented people coming?
There still were.
Yeah, there were millions. There were millions for sure. I'm not saying that there weren't. I'm saying at the rate that it's been lately, or people
Lately,
literally.
there's no lately here. If you want to look at the
There is.
current rate of immigration flow that's happening, it's comparable to the end of the Trump term.
There is.
What there was a significant increase in 2021, 2022, and 2023 for very specific reasons. What we saw is that the tail end of the COVID pandemic and the ending of Title 42 opened up massive floodgates and caused a much larger increase in migrants because of the supply chain effects and the economic instability that occurred post-COVID. That did cause a massive increase in immigration, and we weren't legally allowed to respond in the same way we could respond to with something like Title 42 because of the emergency pandemic measures. So all of those factors, yes, contribute to an increase in immigration flow. None of that is due to the fault or failure of a particular administration.
So do you think it was fair for, these outsiders or foreigners, immigrants, whatever, to be living in NYC hotels? Are you going to tell me that's not true?
Do you know why the immigrants are in New York?
Not just New York. I mean, there's Cali, obviously, everywhere. But yeah.
The immigrants that you're specifically referring to in New York, much like the immigrants that are in Chicago, are not there because they crossed the border and then continued to walk to New York. They're there because states like Texas, where I live, were given federal funding to provide housing and locations for these immigrants while they await their amnesty trials. And then the largest human trafficker in the country, Greg Abbott, decided that he wanted to load them all up on buses, drive them up to New York, and then drop them off. I can provide you with news stories that show this to be true.
Yeah, and all these decisions made, by the way, just to be clear, all these decisions made are not made by the federal government at all. Those decisions made by New York was a specific funding allotment by not even New York State, New York City, a specific funding allotment in order to deal with the increase in migrants to the city. And the claim that they stayed like in fancy hotels, which a lot of people propagate, is not true. There was like 1 3-star hotel used, the rest were like 2-star and below.
I mean, I live in NYC, brother, so I saw it firsthand. And I speak Spanish, so I spoke with them as well.
You can blame Greg Abbott.
Okay, Greg, I don't even know who that is.
It's
I'm
the
not saying
governor
you're
of
lying.
Texas.
I'm just saying. But what was I going to say? So if we can, move all these resources for, immigrants and stuff, why can't we do it to the homeless?
So
That is
the
a
homeless
Why do you
population
think?
has gone down under Biden? It spiked under Trump. Anyway,
Say it again?
I said the homeless population has gone down under Biden. It spiked under Trump. Anyway.
I don't think you know a single
metrics?
fucking thing about homeless people, the homeless issue, how anything like that works. You just think there's a collection of people that just all of a sudden don't have houses and they're just living, lying on the street, like dying. That's not how the homeless population works. Homeless people that are perpetually homeless are an incredibly difficult demographic to deal with. There are plenty of efforts to try and house them, to try and feed them. The problem is they tend to have a number of addiction issues or mental health issues that preclude them from being able to be effectively slotted into different state and federal assistance programs. That is the big issue. And the people that are temporarily homeless, they generally get back to having a home in a pretty short period of time. It's some momentary instability. Homeless people, that's a difficult situation. And yes, we should be dedicating a lot more resources to developing a widespread systemic approach to deal with mental health crises, to deal with drug issues. I totally agree with that. But that's not a simple, like, just chuck 20 billion at it and all of a sudden it'll be good. That's not how it works.
No, that is completely true. I see that. But I just feel like, the citizens are not getting as much priority as I feel like other people are. And they've literally said that they
are. They so are. Why don't you think this?
So why are they? Why? Let me ask you this one then. Why is there no voter ID in California and New York?
Hold
the
on,
two biggest blue states.
my guy. You
Voter
have to
ID?
show ID when you register to vote. There is a vote. You literally have to provide identification when you register to vote in every single state.
Not in California.
Yes,
you're
you do.
jumping around again.
No,
I don't even.
no,
No,
you
stop
don't.
on. I don't want you to jump on. We can talk about voter ID in a second. You've jumped multiple topics at this point. It seems like you're just trying to scramble for a point, which reflects loosely with whatever talking points you've heard on. I don't know what the fuck you listen to, Twitter. The problem that I have with what you're talking about when it comes to native population getting less than immigrants, it's so not true. Can you name one federal funding program that immigrants get, period, illegal immigrants get, period?
There's a video about Springfield where they were eating the cats and dogs or whatever the fuck.
I'm
right?
going to dog walk you on this. So if we want
Hold
to
on,
go
I'm bringing. I don't know if I think this person is trolling or something. I don't know what the fuck that was. Ready to retire. How's it going? You voting for Trump?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to join in.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
Okay.
Take care.
Maury, if we look back where this bullshit started, it was August 27th of 2024, started by a man by the name of Drake R. Barents, who is a member of the Blood Tribe, which has been named by the American...
Hold on, Jay, are you voting for Trump?
No, I already did. I've got a big point.
So you did vote for Trump.
Just
I
let
got
me
a
get
big
through my
point.
point first, Jay.
Sure, go ahead.
The American Defamation League has named the Blood Tribe as a white supremacist neo-Yahtzee group that is based out of Springfield, Ohio. That is where this rhetoric about, quote, eating cats and dogs started. This Haitian panic started because a white man who is an announced and admitted white supremacist started it. Donald Trump is repeating neo-Yahtzee talking points. Get off of it.
And actually, Lemuria, I'll be gracious for 1 second, and because I don't know what the fuck that random point was, I'm going to ask you the question again. I want you to name a single federal program for which illegal immigrants qualify for.
I don't know any.
Thank you. So why the fuck do you think that illegal immigrants are getting these disproportionately greater benefits than the native population?
Because like I told you, I spoke with them firsthand. I speak Spanish. I live in New York.
I don't care about your personal life and what you want to lie about, to be honest. I just don't trust you. Dude, you better watch your tone, liberal. No. I'm being remarkably gracious for how disrespectful it is to talk about something that's so intellectually bankrupt that even responding to it makes me feel stupid. They call me Jay. Why did you vote for Trump?
So something huge came up. Are you able to pull up just an internet browser right now?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't hear you when you're out of the app, so if you're trying to say something right now, I'm not going to be able to listen to it.
Oh, sorry. If you Google Prop 47 author,
2014 California
and you
Proposition
scroll
47.
down, you have to hit. Yep. And do you know what that's all about?
Reclassifying felonies, certain felony provisions as misdemeanors.
The reason why people just brazenly walk into Walgreens and take whatever they want. We've seen it all over TikTok, all over the news, people just stealing in broad daylight, right?
Oh, boy.
Okay, so do you understand what a reclassification means?
Enlighten me, please.
It doesn't mean that they're legalizing stealing. What it means is that they're reducing they're increasing the threshold for which you qualify for a felonious charge.
Right.
That's the difference. Because if
So
you're
anything
stealing a
under
couple $100
$350.
and you're getting charged with a felony, or $900 and you're getting charged with a felony, they said, no, I think that's going to be a little bit too harsh. And that's something that can shift over time based upon inflation rates and a lot of other things that alter the pricing, especially if a lot of that pricing and those felony charges are based on archaic measures. Do you have any evidence that this has caused a significant increase in shoplifting?
Right. So,
and how
the
are we
reason
tying this to
for-
Trump and Harris? Let's
Yes.
wait. What am I doing? I'm not going to go down this fucking rabbit hole before
It
you
will
tie
be
it
done.
meaningfully to his administration.
It most definitely will be.
I want you to
obviously,
tie it now.
Okay. Kamala signed it in. If you hit more results, because you won't find it on the first page, go to california.ca.gov and look at the court documents.
Signed it in.
Who signs bills at the state level?
How did she sign it in? Did she
It's on the
co-sponsor
second
it?
page.
Maybe. You mean co-sponsor?
You know that
She's at the
governors,
top of every page.
you know, governors are the ones that sign bills into law, right?
This is a proposition. You know that's not a bill, right?
It's a referendum, so same thing. Or close enough.
So if you steal under 950, it's just a misdemeanor.
So she
you know,
co-sponsored it. What's the point? What did she do exactly? She co-sponsored it. She did what?
she's directly related to the reason these people are stealing all this stuff, and we've seen all this stuff on the news.
All the stuff on the news doesn't mean anything to me. I need specific evidence that there's been a significant increase in crimes because of this.
So a referendum from how many years ago exactly?
2014.
So of course,
So from 10 years ago is now directly correlated to people stealing things today.
so they're not going to say, "Hey, there's
I
this
asked
new
you,
law."
Please answer. It's a yes or no question.
Oh, yes, then.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess.
So
So-
could you show me the uptick in 2014 that occurred because of this?
So, as I was saying, they're not going to be sitting in their homes and saying, "Oh, there's this new referendum, so we can go steal." It took a couple of years. 2017.
Okay, 2016.
The crime started going up, and then, of course, in 2020 is when we really saw people were like catching on. They're like, "We can steal stuff up to 950 without a felony. It's a misdemeanor. We can steal all kinds of things, and we can."
You do understand, just for clarity, that like if they were like, oh, if we steal like 5 Xboxes at like different locations and each of those are less than $900, it's only going to be a misdemeanor, is not how that works, right?
How does it work?
Do understand that that's
How does
not
it
how
work?
it works. Like if,
Well, make me understand.
So, can you do a bit of analysis on this? This is the problem that I have. Is people like you, Trump voters, Trump supporters, you do the most egotistical, news and current event analysis out of anybody ever. You just take collections of stimulus input and you associate them together without any analysis on how they're associated. You say, oh, look, this happened in 2014. Oh, now I'm seeing stuff in the news. Now I see something on Twitter. I'm going to tie them together because I think that my mental association is significant enough to create an actual good causal understanding of the issue. You don't have that. I'm sorry. Go to an institution. Go to someone who's actually studying, who knows statistical measures, who knows data analysis. Like even just looking at the cursory results on the impact of Prop 47, the Public Policy Institute of California found evidence that yes, actually Prop 47 might have contributed slightly towards an uptick in larceny and auto break-in thefts. However, the study also indicated that it found a decline in recidivism because of it and no evidence of an increase in violent crime linked to Prop 47. So yeah, it actually might have caused an uptick in some amounts of larceny. But some of the issues and probably some of the reasons why Prop 47 was passed is because of issues and concerns about the jailing system in California. And there's a lot of problems and negative externalities that come out of the jail system in California. And there's been a lot of public complaints because of it. So that's probably one of the reasons why Prop 47 was negotiated and passed. By the way, this wasn't something signed by the legislature. This was passed with public support. It was a referendum. It was brought forward to the people of California, and the people of California said yes, overwhelmingly, by a 20-point margin.
Absolutely.
Also, just to establish a baseline, and this isn't
because they saw it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I would like to establish a baseline here. Were you as upset under Trump's administration when Jeff Sessions, as Attorney General, decided that he wanted to overwhelmingly go after people with misdemeanor-related drug charges and put them in jail for longer periods of times than they were originally due? Were you just as incensed by that?
I'm not understanding the correlation of what we're talking about here.
I'm just trying to establish a baseline because
I'm trying to understand your baseline.
Right. You're upset about a law that has Kamala Harris's name attached to it that was passed by the citizens of California. I'm just trying to understand if you were also as upset by the person you're voting for, how people in his administration judiciously went after people for things that they should not have been in jail for.
Oh, do you mean similarly to Kamala jailing parents for truancy?
I'm asking you to establish a baseline here. Were you just as incensed by the Trump administration when Jeff Sessions did this?
Oh, I wasn't nearly as incensed as
so it's a
California crumbling now.
It's a yes or no question.
Listen to the final word.
I'm asking you to answer the question.
There was a no at the end of that. There's a no in the beginning.
So then you don't care about this sort of thing. This is just.
Oh, I do care. You're trying to twist words around. You think you're so clever, but listen. So people understand.
No, man, I don't think I'm clever.
Listen, check it out. No, listen. Listen, quiet. I know you're trying to change the topic here and trying to confuse and twist things around. That's great. That's good for you. You think you're intelligent? All the more power to you. I love you for that. But check it out. So the way that they got it to pass was they said, hey, if we have less people in jail, we can put more money towards education. It's all about the kids. So California was like, yeah, I'm going to vote yes on anything that has to do with education.
It's not just that. Overcrowding is a significant issue.
Yes, overcrowding and paying for people in jail for misdemeanor crimes. So then you limit misdemeanors to up to $950. So you can go steal an Xbox at one store and an Xbox at another. You certainly can. You will not be put in jail.
Wait, you could do this. Wait, hold on. You could do this with any threshold. If the threshold was $400, I could steal a Wii at one store and then a Wii at another store and then a Wii at a third store. You do this with any threshold. This is meaningless. Stop it.
$950.
What threshold is appropriate for what threshold?
Like a 250% increase.
Wait, what threshold is appropriate for you? And
hold on,
not
be just able to be clear, come in and take things off the shelf.
Just to be clear, when was that $400 threshold set?
No idea. They probably weren't even paying attention to that.
1982. 1982. Several decades ago. The reason why they raised it was to account for inflation.
Inflation?
Yes. So why aren't you attacking them in 1982 1982 when they passed it, because again, that amount, that $400 in 1982 is about half of, or it was twice the value of what that is amounted to today. You have no concept of any of this.
Why
you
are
haven't
you
done
so
an ounce.
vehemently defending
You haven't done
the
an ounce.
crimes in California? It's insane.
There's no defense here. The simple fact is you don't know
because it
anything
has
about
Kamala's
this.
name on it.
You
You're
made
gonna
it.
find any way around.
Wait,
this.
that's fine. That's fine. The problem is you don't know anything about it. You don't know the reason why they passed it. You don't know what were the contingencies of it. You don't know
Just because you say
anything
I
about
don't know
it.
anything doesn't mean that I actually don't know.
Then you would have
anything.
brought
That's
this
the
up.
Democratic
You would have
way.
said, wait, hold on. You would have made a case appropriately characterizing the decision where in 2014, California, based on a Supreme Court ruling, ordered a referendum to occur that passed by a 20-point margin to support an increase by $550 for the felony threshold. This was done primarily because of concern for prison overcrowding and because the last threshold had been set in 1982 at $400, and that this increase in the threshold would appropriately account for the inflationary change in the American dollar. Do you understand that when you characterize it that way, which is fucking accurate, dumbass, that actually creates a better understanding of the situation, and it makes your initial assumption of trying to tie Harris tenuously, which is tenuous, by the way, to this bill, because you're a representative of the mental rot.
That's why.
You're a representative of the mental rot of this nation, and why it is so easy to be nihilistic about everything.
This entire time, and
Jay,
someone
what's
who's
the
Jay,
Krieger.
all
triggered.
I cannot tell you how much idiocy triggers me. How insulting it is for people like you to come up here and say, oh, this is a significant issue. This is why Harris is a worse candidate than Trump. Even though we understand that Trump directed a riot, incited a riot on January 6th as part of a fomented project to overturn the election by developing a slate of electors that he would pressure Mike Pence into signing, even though that slate of electors was not verified by any of the state legislator. And that was a part of a whole project to overturn an election that he has no evidence was rigged. That is the issue. You take something like that, which is a flagrant disrespect for the well-being and interests of any of our institutions, and then you point to something like Harris, who has her name attached tenuously to a referendum, which was done for the sake of understanding an inflation increase and also understanding there was overcrowding in prisons. What are you talking about?
Hey, Jay, what state do you live in?
Your state,
Well, I live in Texas, but what state do you live in?
Texas.
Okay, one moment. Did you know that in Texas, the felony threshold is $2,500?
No.
It is. So why are you upset about $950?
Well, then they need to move from California to Texas. Then.
So why are you upset about $950?
How do you live with yourself, legitimately? How do you say these things, hear set responses, and live with yourself?
There's four different ones.
Actually, the previous threshold in Texas was $1,500, and they raised it to $2,500.
Oh, great!
So
when did they do that?
1 second, I'll tell you.
And there we go.
It's so easy. I actually had heard of Prop 47 before. It had been a while since I looked into it. But I wasn't even aware of this.
1978, and they changed it in 2020.
Nice.
A simple cursory search gave me all of the information in 30 seconds that would have contextualized all the stuff you brought up. You are set in a propagandized bubble where you have no balanced flow of information to you, and it becomes so easy for you to develop these rotted talking points that aren't anywhere based in reality.
Well, it's been fun proving that she's the reason for all the thefts in California.
Okay.
I could show someone this live and, with referendum, pass measures to legalize lobotomies. 100%.
I'm so exhausted.
See, I was in a better mood this evening, and you fucked it, Jay.
Hello?
What's up, funny?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How you doing?
Terrible. How about you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good.
Staring
Good for you, man.
into the existential nightmare that is the American political hellscape. What's up?
You said what? Can you repeat that?
No. No. No.
Yeah, you should probably look on our website, maybe do a little research before you start up a live and try to spread political nonsense about Donald
True.
Trump. See,
Amen.
I vote. Amen. Yeah, exactly. Amen. Kamala Harris, fucking best candidate ever. Shit.
True.
See, I remember. See, I served 3 years in Iraq, and when I came back from the Iraqi war, shit, man, I had nothing but hate for them fucking sand niggers.
Okay. All
And
right.
then
I
Kamala
should have
Harris is gonna
expected
legalize-
that there was some troll elements that would devolve. That's unfortunate.
You know, it might not be everybody that's
the worst I've seen in a while.
racist, but all the racists are definitely voting for Trump.
No, that's not true. I'm
They
voting.
say what?
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump.
Well, I didn't say that everyone voting for Trump was a racist. What I said
Yeah,
was
that's a basic.
what I said was that all the racists are voting for Trump.
Go back to Logic 101. All right. Why are you voting for Trump, man?
I would say top three things: immigration, economy, and then women's rights.
Okay.
Pardon?
Well, let's start. Fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit my mic. Well, let's start with the one that's most bizarre. That being women's rights. Why do you think that
Hold on.
women's rights are better?
Hold on. In fairness, two dudes up here should probably tag in a woman. In fairness,
If one of my bitches wants to come up, they can. But I feel like it's this isn't a tough or nuanced conversation to have when it
I
comes
know
to women's
Kristen's
rights.
in here.
It's pretty fucking obvious why Trump is a threat to women's rights. So again, why do you think that Trump would better enable women's rights than Harris? Trump, who has been very quiet, let's just start with the historical perspective, who put in Supreme Court justices that struck down Roe v. Wade, overturning many people in many states in their ability to get access to abortion, who, when asked multiple times about whether or not he would veto something like a national abortion ban, he has not answered that question, who selected a VP who is vehemently against abortion, who has, just in terms of interpersonal actions, characterized women in some pretty gross, demeaning ways, which does, when you're the leader of a nation, impact the way and enable men to treat women in those similar sorts of ways, who has sexualized young girls, who has been held civilly liable for the assault on E. Jean Carroll. There's so many different things that I can point to. Why do you think Harris, given all that, is more deficient when it comes to women's rights?
Well, that's a lot to unpack, but we'll start with E. Jean Carroll. We know that Trump paid up money, but it wasn't a 100% fact that he penetrated her with anything she couldn't remember.
Didn't say it was 100%. There's not a 100% for anything. But it was. What is the preponderance of evidence for a civil case?
I need you to back your fun bus up for a moment. To sit there and try to use "she didn't remember" as
He
some
didn't.
sort
That's
of.
what she said. She didn't remember.
Okay.
It could have been his finger. It could have been his penis. It could have been a projectile.
Hey, I'm going to need you to pause. for a second.
Wait.
I am a certified victim advocate. This is a topic that I'm very, very well versed on here. Do you understand that, like, many victims of SA, be they male or female, more often than not have issues remembering like certain things about the situation because of the trauma that it causes?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then trying to use that as some sort of like gotcha defense, it's not really the thing that you think that it is.
No, it would just
Also,
be
if you
different
read up,
instead
if you read up on the facts of the
directly
case,
said
it'd be
it.
irrelevant. By the way,
Moreover,
Again, if she was to say that he stuck his penis inside of her, then that would be a totally different
wait.
subject.
The contention was. It seems like you're saying she doesn't know if it was like a finger or penis. Yes, if you actually read the facts of the case, she was pushed up against the wall by Trump. He pushed into her, and then he inserted something, his digits, his penis, something like that into her. That was her recalled experience. Which one it was, she wasn't certain on. And that doesn't fucking matter because whatever it was, it is still grape.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you think like a hand versus a penis, like, oh well, it's a hand, so it's not nearly as bad. That is not at all an argument you should be making whatsoever. That is frankly disgusting. It doesn't matter what it is. It's an entirely moot point, my guy. You are essentially saying that, well, it wasn't half as bad because it was just a hand.
Oh, they left. Yeah, go fuck yourself, man. Jesus Christ. Well, they weren't kicked for anything. There was no violation or whatever.
At this point, I'm mostly just I'm genuinely convinced that Trump supporters just don't want to back down because then they would have to just admit that they were wrong. And I feel as though they don't want to have to do that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they've had this candidate as their frontliner for the past fucking 9 years. It's a sunk cost thing. You've invested a lot in this candidate, even though he's continued to accrue a shit ton of things that are from unlikable to straight up monstrous and abhorrent. You just can't abandon him. And it's pathetic. Yeah. It's gross. It is gross. But yeah, that whole Prop 47 thing, it was so unbelievably easy to identify the different factors involving that decision and contextualizing it. He left out the fact that it was a referendum, which is crazy important, by the way. This wasn't something that was passed by...
Yeah, I didn't realize that people voted on it.
Yes. Popularly, a 20-point margin for supporting it.
Well,
so, yeah.
Unfortunately, reality has a left-leaning bias, so, you know.
Even from a right-leaning perspective, Trump is bad. That's why Trump is so insane to me.
He doesn't if you look at it strictly from conservative values, he doesn't. None of historically his conservative values are embodied by him at all.
Yep. Or for every conservative value you can kind of find in him, he has an exact opposite value or a value that contradicts that. That's the problem with populism, is it's incredibly messy and bizarre, and especially a populism that rose out of fearful, bigoted ilk from a disaffected population in the United States. It's just going to be destructive and chaotic and terrible. And that's what Trump is.
The irony, what Ness just said in the comments, the irony is that his largest voting demographic is, in fact, uneducated white people. And I don't, when I say uneducated, I don't mean that to be derogative. I mean literally people with a high school education or lower.
Oh. Yeah, they're kind of just duped into it. It's unfortunate because even though uneducated and lower class individuals are actually in utility better represented by the policy of the Democratic Party, unfortunately, a lot of lower class, poor white folk are just caught up in the aesthetics, are caught up in the association that the Republican Party generates through its political practices. You talk with the Southern accent, you look like you grew up on a ranch, you have some, jeans with a belt and a tucked in shirt, button-up shirt, and people are just like, oh my God, that's me. I got to vote for them, even though they're normally a city billionaire or some shit. What's up to Chica?
Yeah, the anti-establishment argument, I think, especially funny considering he's a billionaire whose vice president is a millionaire backed by a Silicon Valley billionaire. And they also just tagged in what is effectively political royalty into their like platform. So that is establishment.
Mm-hmm. They just have to adopt the aesthetics, which is funny because, like, the Democrats don't really do that. At least there's some semblance of honesty where Democrats kind of do come across as, moderately, middle upper class, wealthy, establishment type of people. So at least they're a little bit more honest, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, everyone, I guess keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 25,000 likes. Hopefully we can get a couple more conversations. Maybe I'll hop on some other people's panels or lives. I know someone like Tommy is live. Maybe I'll hop in and chat with them. Just about election anxiety and woes and shit.
I did hear a great comparison yesterday. I don't know if this person was sincere or not, but they essentially said that Donald Trump was a modern day Teddy Roosevelt.
I don't know if I literally had that conversation with that person. I don't know if that was the conversation you're talking about. Maybe it was the same person that brought up that on another. Yeah, it makes no sense. The idea that the progressive party approach that Teddy Roosevelt had is remotely resemblant, bears remote resemblance to Donald Trump is just not true. Even the foreign policy stuff, there aren't that many similarities. And Teddy Roosevelt kind of wasn't great on foreign policy. He was pretty imperialistic. But no, domestically, the antitrust, the breaking up big businesses, all that type of shit is not something that Trump is interested in at all. He cares about deregulation. What are you talking about? All right. If you are MAGA and you want to have a conversation, I invited one person up. They did not accept the invite, unfortunately, even though they like chatting shit in the comments. If you're MAGA, feel free to come up and have a conversation. I can probably talk to a few more people, hopefully, before I devolve too much. Already that past guess. It's insane how confident people are to bring up talking points when those talking points can so easily be dealt with a quick Google search.
Oh yeah, no,
it's like the first CBS News article that talks about, and cites, by the way, not just talk about, but cites specific elements.
I've been saying this for the past couple of days. I'm exhausted, and not because of like general election woes or just the overall vibe of the election, which has been insane to say the least. But like I've generally been politically engaged since I was 18. I'm 34 now. I've always tried to like keep my thumb on what's going on, what affects me, what affects things I care about. But this year has been dialed up to an 11, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate how much I have had to learn on behalf of others.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to characterize this as the most important election of the past, 40 years. Because you have elements of the 2016 or 2017 through 2020 Trump presidency that are percolating to this day, that with 4 more years, he could easily energize to a much greater degree. The fact that he might be able to elect 1 or maybe even 2 more Supreme Court justices, effectively locking the Supreme Court as a conservative bastion for the next 50 fucking years, that's insane.
Agreed.
As a conservative bastion for the next... Ben, you have an echo. Fucking years, that's insane.
Okay, so I can't.
Conservative bastion for the next. Ben, you have to swipe out of the app and then come back.
Okay, so I can't.
Okay, all right.
Ben, you gotta swipe out, swipe back in. You've got an echo. There you go.
Maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they won't. Jeremiah, what's up, man?
What's up?
You voting for Trump? Or have voted for Trump?
I am.
Why so?
Economy wise, I like his plans for his next term.
Which are?
Deportation. What else is there? Oil. And his plan to stop the wars in Ukraine and Russia and in Israel as well.
Can you give me the specific plans for the economy that you like?
Yeah, I like the tariffs
Why do you like the tariffs?
because it will help the American companies, because China does have a very unfair game when it comes to world trade.
It will help the American companies?
Yes, it will.
What do you think a tariff is?
So I know what you're going to say. The
What am I
consumer
going to say?
buys, the consumer, whatever.
No, I want specifically, how do you think a tariff works?
So a tariff works behind. So whatever comes from China, if somebody is buying something from China, they pay the tariff.
Yes.
Am I
yes.
right? Awesome. So why keep buying stuff from China? Why is China keep playing an unfair game when it comes to world trade? And everybody knows about this. Everybody knows.
Yeah, that's the issue. So when you say that's the issue, when you say it helps, when you say it helps American businesses, it doesn't. What it does is it forces them to restructure the way that the way their supply chain negotiation is working, to invest and build up in more lower level businesses, or developing businesses that create lower level products, like base level manufacturing shit. So it doesn't really help any businesses. It just means we have to restructure where our emphasis is in our business. So it'll take away our higher level businesses that develop more complex materials, and will force us to spend a lot more time, people, money, and energy for base level manufacturing. Now, if you want to do so in order to disempower China, it will probably affect China negatively to some extent, but it negatively affects us pretty significantly too. It's also it's also important to recognize it's not just a China thing; it's an across the board 10% tariff. It puts us at a risk of a trade war with all of the world, especially the EU, who are already developing measures to respond to the tariffs that Trump is leveraging towards them.
Correct. It's also very important to recognize that the reason we rely a lot on countries like China for certain products is because either A, we don't have the infrastructure to produce it, or B, there's no reason for us to produce it. Let's look at this on even like a lower level, not even importing like washing machines or cars. Do you know what two countries make up the top 10 steel production like companies? Do you know what two countries own them?
I do not.
China and India. America does not make good steel, comparatively speaking. China and India make some of the best steel in the world. There's a reason why we import steel from China. There's a reason why we import steel from India. Could we utilize American steel to make things? Yes, but the steel from China and India is markedly better. It's also just vastly more expensive for us to produce these things. Now, if we import steel from China that we have thrown tariffs against, any American-made product that we use that steel in is also going to now be more expensive. Like this doesn't just necessarily mean like things that are imported or things that we levy tariffs against are going to increase in price. Things that don't have tariffs levied against them are going to increase in prices. We can look at the Trump administration for evidence against this because it happened under his administration. Do you remember that period where washing machines got really expensive under the Donald Trump administration because we had tariffs against those with China?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know what else got really expensive when we levied tariffs against washing machines?
What else?
Dryers. There were no tariffs against dryers, but the prices of those also skyrocketed.
Okay.
Yeah, businesses will take advantage of those types of market dynamics too. Which
Tariffs
is
are
not
not good.
Yeah, there's a reason, and you know that you can do any amount of economic research if you want to go to any economic bureaus, if you want to go to any economic institutions. Tariffs tend to be one of the less popular measures for generating revenue for government. The reason, and one of the reasons is because they have a shit ton of externalities. compared to something like a corporate tax. Corporate tax, there's ways, it encourages businesses actually to pay their employees more in order to kind of cushion against the corporate tax. There's ways of dealing with it. There's fewer actors involved, which means its outcome is more predictable. Whereas if you're doing something against a bunch of overseas actors, the geopolitical implications are much more difficult to track and exponentially more complex. That's why economists fucking hate it. So that's why it's not popular. That's why economists have sponsored and endorsed Harris's plan more. Is there a specific reason?
I forgot about this, but Jim brought it up in the chat as well. The trade war that Donald Trump got us into with China is also the reason why the soybean farmers in the U.S. went out of business.
And we had to spend how many? Like, what was like $100 billion, something like that, to bail them out?
Something to the tune of that.
Yeah. It creates a lot of pressure. The funny thing is, its tariffs are some of the least, which is funny because like people say that Trump and the right are like pro-business, pro-capitalism, pro-whatever. It's one of the least capitalism policies out there because it creates some pretty aggressive, extreme pressures on particular businesses.
The last time we did something similar and levied blanket tariffs against, all imported goods, we sort of went into one of the worst recessions in this country because they directly contributed to the Great Depression. So generally, that I feel as though that's something we can all agree that we should probably avoid.
Yeah, the Smoot-Hawley tariffs were pretty interesting, kind of rough.
We're also still under, another fun one to look up is the chicken wars from the 40s and 50s that we're still dealing with today because we got into a trade war with Germany over chicken and importing trucks from Germany. We're still dealing with that today.
So why do you think your perspective on tariffs trumps that of the perspective of economists and pretty much anyone who's an expert in the field?
I mean, there's been plenty of experts in the field that I've seen that have spoken out and said two different things, such as, like, let's say, tariffs were imposed to encourage China to change its unfair practices. A lot of people say that they threatened United States
do that.
Workers and farmers.
I feel like you just Googled what do tariffs do, because that is essentially what tariffs can do, is they can be used in the hopes that countries will change their practices. But 9 times out of 10, what happens is they just turn around and throw tariffs right back at you.
And tariffs.
And that's why if you look at even the original Trump tariffs, but as well the tariffs that Biden allowed to perpetuate, they tended to be pretty targeted towards very specific products, very specific resources, because the more tariffs you add on, the more varied the outcomes are going to be, and it's a lot more difficult to couch some of the backlash that can occur from different countries. So.
Also, I don't know why people think tariffs are going to pay for everything. They make up approximately 5% of all U.S. revenue. Like, we don't make a lot. Like, the little bit of money that goes towards the Treasury that we have to pay them, it's not a lot of money.
Am I against tariffs against China in general? I don't find them to be that productive. I'm not sure how effective they've been, the specific tariffs, for altering their manufacturing processes. I might be for selective tariffs towards China, depending on what the specific concern is. If there are significant humanitarian issues, that might be a fair thing to do. But outside of that, not really. Yeah. So, what, Jeremiah? What's your position? How are you contending with these ideas?
With tariffs?
With the fact that tariffs cause a number of problems, have far-reaching externalities, and that's why economists are much less in support of Trump's position than Harris's position, even though Harris has made a few controversial economic policies or supported a few controversial economic policies. Yeah. None of them have been as widely criticized as a flat 20 or 10% tariff and then a 60% tariff against anything coming from China.
Yeah, so Do you think Biden and Harris had a good economy?
Yes.
Generally, yeah.
They had a lot of tariffs as well.
Yeah,
So
I literally just brought that up. So
tariffs really aren't all bad.
yes,
They're not
those
all
were
bad.
those were one. I would probably have disagreed with some of those tariffs. I'm not sure about all of them, but those were pretty selective tariffs. Like if you go and read the continuation, there was a whole page that's published on the WhiteHouse.gov, the Biden WhiteHouse.gov website that talks about the continuation of particular tariffs, the reasoning for their continuation, and it was targeted towards very specific products. Maybe some of that's justified, maybe some of it's not, but those were pretty small and selective tariffs compared to what Trump is proposing. Which he has to propose that in order to generate the revenue he's looking to generate, because he wants to get rid of the income tax, which is insane, or he might. I'm not sure. He actually hasn't established
Any
a clear position
candidate
on
that
that.
runs on "I'm going to end the income tax" this close to an election is panicking. I'm sorry, that's
Which,
not.
and just to be clear, these tariffs and getting rid of the income tax will result in a pretty significant net revenue loss for the U.S.
His other no tax positions are also completely laughable.
So I'm going to be honest with you. It seems like you haven't even processed some of these ideas before, but these are pretty mainline conversations and important points that myself and Ryan are bringing up.
No, you guys are making good points, but I do believe that tariffs on China should be stay where they are. Because
you can say that.
Put high tariffs on China as well. He put just like you said.
No, it wasn't that he put. It's more so that he left some tariffs. Trump had put some tariffs on China. I think Biden got rid of some. He left some because they had some agreeable effects, I think.
One of the big tariffs that people like to point to, and it's a great example, is there is a 100% tariff on EVs that are imported from China. Do you understand why there is a 100% tariff on EVs imported from China, Jeremiah?
Yeah, it's so the auto industry, like everything can be made in like America.
Well, correct. So it's to spur the American production of electric vehicles. Because as it stands right now in America, there's really only one company that kind of has a stranglehold on EVs. It's the only reason I haven't bought one is because I refuse to put money in Elon's pocket. But that exactly is that going to what is that going to do? Do you think all of the companies now, like everybody, instead of importing those things, they're going to scramble to build the infrastructure to create the things that we would normally import? Like, let's take this to its logical conclusion, right? Like, how much do you think that would cost? How long do you think that would take? Do you think that that's honestly feasible?
I do not.
Okay, then. So we're kind of at an impasse here.
But everything takes time. I don't think everything's going to be set and done within one year. Everything takes time, and like you said, it does encourage American workers to make product in America by American workers. So I do believe that tariffs on China, like I said earlier during the live,
that's. Wait, did you say you're libertarian?
Who?
Oh, I thought you said you're libertarian for a second.
No.
The Jeremiah. The problem is even if we were to reorient our entire economy in order to deal with the new infrastructural demands and change all our manufacturing process and do so much more base manufacturing, even if we were to do all of that, it would still be more expensive simply because the regulations, the standards, the labor standards, the wage standards, all of these things are higher in the U.S. There's just more expectations there. So production is going to be more expensive, period, even if we were to fully reorient and adapt to this new system. It's just cheaper abroad to, and some of that's for unethical reasons. Some of that's just because parity differential between us and the living standards of other nations. But regardless, it's just cheaper abroad.
I mean, if that's the case, then, you guys say that there's 100% tariff on China for EVs. If that's the case, why aren't Tesla vehicles so expensive?
Why aren't they so expensive?
Yeah, why aren't they so expensive?
Because Elon imports products. The building might be local, but the importing of the products used to build comes internationally. But that would all change if all of those imported products, those base materials, had some extreme 10 or 20% tariff on them.
So you're saying every single product is imported from China, or most?
Does he actually? I don't even know what percent. Does he get? How much of the material used to build Teslas is domestically created? Is any?
Let's look it up real quick.
Nothing. I feel like you're not fully grasping the fact that like American made products are just inherently more expensive, right? Like we understand that, right, Jeremiah?
I'm sorry?
You understand that American made products are inherently more expensive, right?
Yeah, because a lot of our countries would rather move overseas.
No. That has nothing to do with that. You understand that products made in America are just more expensive, right?
Depends on what it is.
Well, no. Everything made in America is more expensive than the things that we import. Either A, because the price of those materials to create it. B, the craftsmanship, because American-made products are generally just made better. The labor standards in this country, there's a lot of different reasons, right? A lot of different reasons why American-made products are more expensive. If we said we're not going to import anything, we're only going to make stuff in America, one, the cost of building all of that infrastructure would be insane. Two, everything would just be more expensive. Everything.
Okay, yeah, and I just looked it up right here. Tesla gets, it says right here, what does it say? 39% of its battery supply chain materials from China, including just their batteries and stuff. They also get stuff from Russia, and Tesla also manufactures a lot of its own components, including the battery pack, the electric motor, and the charger. So if Tesla's getting material from China and Russia and still manufacturing a lot of their own components as well, why isn't there?
But this is why across the board. Yeah, but this is why across the board is bad. So it looks like they manufacture around 30 to 40% of their own parts, but the materials used to manufacture those parts, almost none of it's domestic. We don't have cobalt mines domestically. We don't really have any. I don't think we have any lithium mines.
We do. We have lithium mines.
Oh, do we have? Okay, maybe we have some lithium
mines.
One
in Arizona, and there's one, I believe, that they're opening up in West Virginia, I want to say.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not sure how much from that Tesla.
They're both relatively new.
Okay. So yeah, then it appears that at least until now, Tesla hasn't relied that significantly on them. Most of what they're importing is probably coming from Brazil or other places in South America or more towards the southern coast of Africa. That's where they're getting all their shit, their raw materials. That raw material would be taxed.
Okay. So then why are we putting just tariffs on China then instead of all those other countries? I said, why are we just putting tariffs on China then instead of like high tariffs on all those
Why
other
would we
countries?
put tariffs on the other countries? Why the fuck would you? I'm opposed to tariffs.
Yeah, I'm trying to grasp it. I'm trying to figure out why if we put 100% tariff on EV, on China, why did we do that?
The reason is because China is a global competitor, and we want to be selectively aggressive towards a competitor, both because we want good standing with them on the world stage, compared to them on the world stage, and because we want to posture as punishing some of their inhumane practices that they engage in. That's what we're doing fundamentally. So we tariff very selective products from China.
Trump is not advocating for selective tariffs. Trump is advocating for a blanket tariff against everybody and everything.
I don't think he's trying to tariff everybody.
He literally
is.
said a 20% tariff on all imported goods with an additional 60% tariff on China.
If that was the case, he would have did it during his first term if he really wanted it.
You can say that, but then it's just a bad plan. You either are saying that he's either going to do this shit and it's bad, or he's not going to do it and he's just going to be an unproductive president, one of the two, do like commit to one of them, but either align with and support what his plan is, or call him unproductive. Don't jump back and forth.
Jeremiah, you said when you joined up here that you liked his tariff plan. That is his tariff plan. I've heard him say it.
Yeah, and I do believe that we should, keep tariffing China and put some.
So hold on. Is it you agree with his tariff plan, or you don't think it's real because if it was, he would have done it under his first administration? Which one is it?
I agree with his tariff plan.
So you agree with a 20% blanket tariff against all imported goods from everybody that we import from, as well as an additional 60% tariff against China?
I do.
This would tank the economy.
If that's what you want to say, because there's been higher tariffs on a lot of countries and back in history.
And here's an important part. Why? Not only does it take the economy, but it's a regressive form of generating revenue. Why things like a corporate tax or a progressive income tax or a variety of other revenue gaining tax proposals are popular is because they tend to pull from people more so whose dollar doesn't matter as much to them. Whereas with a tariff, you're going to be punishing generally imported goods which are cheaper, which are used to produce cheaper goods, which contributes towards cheaper production. And those are the things that poor people buy. That poor people aren't buying the luxury European produced products, the luxury domestic produced products. It's poor people that buy all the shit from China because that's what they can afford. So it's going to punish poor people more. That's the issue. It goes against the idea of marginal utility, the fact that for poor people, every dollar they have matters a lot more, and for every dollar on top of that you gain, it matters a bit less. It matters much less towards feeding yourself, your family, putting a roof over your head. That's why tariffs are regressive and bad.
I also just you're agreeing with his plan. Do you often complain, Jeremiah, about the price of gas or the price of groceries? I want to bring this a little more local.
And the reason why that gas is so expensive.
Hold on. Hey, we're not going to pivot. We're still talking about tariffs. We're still talking about tariffs.
Okay.
Do you think that like the price of groceries right now, like, oh man, groceries are expensive?
No. I'd say groceries are a little bit pricey.
Okay.
But around that.
So we import a lot of produce from Mexico specifically, right? So if we lay a 20% blanket tariff on all imported goods, groceries are now going to get more expensive. Even more expensive than they already are.
Yeah. Trump said that. He had said if, what's her name? The Mexican president, I don't know her name. He said that if she doesn't get, her stuff together with her country and stop letting all these illegal immigrants just come into our country, then he will raise tariffs on them. That's what he said.
This is why Trump isn't popular, because he's just bizarrely aggressive without any meaningful diplomatic negotiation.
Well, why be soft? The border has been an issue for years, and
we're not going to pivot. We're not going to pivot, guy. Come on.
I'm just talking.
We truly are all God's children, and he's left us in a hot car. I swear to God.
Honestly. Does any of what we said change your mind on tariffs?
Oh, you guys gave me a lot more knowledge on it.
Okay.
I could say.
Are you
50-50
Bayesian, or are you?
I gotta do a little more.
Can I alliterate that? I don't know. Are you closed-minded, or are you willing to integrate the knowledge?
I'm willing to learn. I mean, I didn't know, like, you guys kind of like put some more like knowledge in me about terrorists, made me search up a couple things that I didn't think about. So now I got to do my a little bit more research and get some more knowledge on terrorists.
Well, all right. Well, I would love to then address one of the other topics that you brought up about why you think Trump is a great president if we're not going to talk about tariffs now. You said that Trump would stop funding all these foreign wars, right?
I said that?
Yes, you did.
When did I say that?
When you first came up here. That was one of your like 4 reasons.
I don't think I said that, but we could talk about that.
Might have been the last guess. Like, just tell us what your like. What are the? If it's not economic health, what are the other reasons?
So, what was the question again?
I may have been confusing you with the last guess. It's kind of blurring together.
Yeah, I feel you.
I don't know. What was your question?
But do we do a tag team? Trump wants to end the wars. Sure. Got some background noise, Jess.
Would you guys like to talk about gas and oil? Why gas prices are so high?
OPEC.
Yeah, exactly. It has
supply and demand, supply chain issues, COVID, and a number of reasons.
What did Biden do to raise the gas prices?
It not really. Because the United States doesn't make enough oil for ourselves.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. No,
we are literally producing more.
Yes,
we're producing 13 million barrels per day, which is a 50% increase what we were producing under Trump.
We were also importing like 100 million barrels a day from Venezuela under Donald Trump as well. And
where are you getting this information, man?
The chat is also agreeing with me.
You just
why do you think Biden made it more expensive, or do you not? And in that case, it's irrelevant to
Biden made it more expensive was trying to increase the amount of jobs.
What?
I would say that. Because
I'm sorry. Could you please elaborate?
The more price that you make of oil, it increases the amount of jobs.
The more what?
The higher the price of oil.
Wait. That's not how the president just doesn't press a button and raise the oil prices. How did he raise prices?
Biden did not raise the prices at all. It has to do with geopolitical uncertainty.
Okay.
So how? Okay, indirectly. Are you saying he indirectly raised the prices, or are you just saying that he didn't raise the prices at all? And if that's the case, it was not the fault of Biden and not to the benefit of Trump. So it's an irrelevant point when you're trying.
What's happening? Are you typing in a chat GPT why gas prices went up, and you just read geopolitical uncertainty? Because that is directly contributed to why gas prices have gone up. But Joe Biden didn't have anything to do with that. That's Ukraine and Russia.
I swear to God, I didn't.
I mean, it sounded like you read geopolitical uncertainty, but that is one of the things.
I found that a couple days ago. I was doing some research on it. I found it a couple of days ago.
So that's contributed to it.
It is 0.5 when I typed into ChatGPT. Crude oil prices, supply chain constraints, refinery operations, seasonal demand, and geopolitical events. Look at that, ChatGPT.
Russia, that's Russia and Ukraine. That's under the infrastructure bill. He provided a record number of oil leases to companies to allow them to drill more. We're doing fine. I think there's a big misconception with when it comes to the economy, right? That people think that inflation directly correlates to if inflation has come down, why hasn't the price of goods come down? But that's not how inflation works. You can't press a button. There's no good economy button in the Oval Office that he can press. Okay, so
very select goods, by the way. And to be fair, oil is one of the prices that does fluctuate insanely, not just in terms of its inflation, but in terms of the literal price.
Almost every month, oil changes, the price per barrel. It changes.
Yeah, it does. It fluctuates a shit ton. The problem is if you're bringing up as a point against voting for Harris or why voting for Trump is a smart thing, what action are you tying to Trump or to Biden or to whatever that caused disparities in oil prices?
Let me ask one question.
Hello?
What could do you think higher oil prices could help create more jobs in America?
If there's domestic oil production, yes, higher oil prices might benefit companies more, so companies might want to raise oil prices in order to generate infrastructure for domestic production. But I don't know how this is relevant.
Also, what state do you live in, if I can ask?
Cali.
So the reason why gasoline is so expensive in California, in particular, is because California has like several taxes that are thrown into gas, like the cost of gasoline, primarily due to like eco-friendly laws that are in place in California. That has nothing to do with the.
Well, that has to do with our governor and how he handles it. I don't think it's,
and the infrastructure and the high demand of California. There's a lot of reasons why.
And isn't Kamala trying to make everything eco-friendly?
That's not
California only puts 1%.
Is Kamala not trying to make everything eco-friendly?
Vehicle fuel. It puts 32% of its natural gas to generate electricity. It puts 31% of its natural gas to use the industrial sector.
I'm sorry, what point are you trying to make?
Yeah, I think he's reading off something, honestly.
No, I'm saying how it has to do with our governor. It doesn't have to do with Biden or Trump on why California's gas is.
Okay, that's fine. So again, you're talking about things which are red herrings to the actual
No,
crux of the
well, the
conversation.
point that I asked specifically because like the price of gas in California has nothing to do with Joe Biden or Kamala. So
Yes. So why? So again, why is this irrelevant, or do you just want to step off the whole? What's up, Athena? Step off the whole gas oil price thing.
I'd say we can step off that because it's really like I feel like it's just nobody's fault. It's just the whole world, honestly.
that is probably one of the most accurate things that you've said so far. Yes, like the world at large, like is responsible for the price of gas at the moment.
Well, I would say it's a governmental entity's specific fault. I mean, obviously, specific actions have been taken by oil companies to cause to either in like smart business decisions that would probably drive the price of oil down because they're being more competitive, or to price gouge. They've done that too, which has increased oil prices during some periods in the past 4 years. But yeah, so why else? Also, Jess, I think you said briefly that doesn't Kamala want to be more eco-friendly to some extent, but certainly less so than she was previously. I think she's kind of cut back on her eco-friendly initiatives as a trade for more business-oriented initiatives, and she has supported more drilling. She has supported fracking. She has supported other things which are not as restrictive towards, not as eco-friendly business practices.
But she's also speaking of electric school buses.
When has she talked about that?
I don't have a date for you, but she has.
I mean, I'll be entirely honest with you. I have watched every single one of her rallies so far, and I haven't heard her mention anything about electric school buses.
She mentioned a $5 billion electric school bus program. Yes, she talked about that.
When was this? When was this?
Good question. I think in 2020, I'm guessing.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I mean, this is 4 years ago.
What is that supposed to mean?
Oh no, I'm trying to figure that out with Jess. Honestly,
Jess was just saying that Kamala has eco-friendly initiatives, which are a good thing, by the way. Just to be clear, I don't know if you deny climate change, Jess, but we should be doing whatever we can to curtail a lot of the negative externalities that our system brings about towards the climate. We enjoy a lot of the benefits of a business-oriented system without paying attention to the long-term effects of a lot of those practices, which are kind of fucking our Earth sideways. So we should probably pay more attention to that.
Yes and no. At the same time, we're better off going with oil and fuel than we are going with battery-powered vehicles.
Why is that?
There is science proving that creating the batteries is just not sustainable.
So if you engage in just an ounce of critical thinking, their technologies have developmental bandwidths and have progression bandwidths. Some technologies have a lot of opportunity potential to grow a lot more in how they operate. Other technologies do not. Oil and gas will never, there's just not the mechanical, the chemical constitution to these products to make them more efficient. It just does not exist. When it comes to batteries, there is the potential to make batteries far more efficient in the way they store, the way they transmit energy. There's a lot of ways in which we can approach that in order to improve how friendly those products are. We just cannot do that with explosions. That's what oil and gas are, fucking explosions.
You also
What
understand,
happens
Jess,
when
that,
you
like,
crash a Tesla?
well, I mean, that's
An explosion?
Jeff, you do understand as well, like that natural gas, fossil fuels, like these are finite resources, right?
Wait,
You
hold
understand?
on. Jess just said one of the most stupid things. When I said oil and gas are about explosions, what do you think I meant?
Explain.
No, I want you to say what you think I meant, because the way you responded made absolutely no sense. How does oil and gas work? How is it used to develop energy?
Tell me.
What do you mean? You should know this. This is not that hard. Tell me. Or are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
You don't understand the
Are
combustion.
you trolling? If you're trolling, okay, fine.
No, I'm
whatever.
not trolling. I'm not trolling.
Okay, we set that shit on fire. We place it in an engine. We set it on fire. It shoots pistons. It spins shit in circles. Those circles work with electromagnets to create electricity.
And
That's how an engine works. The problem is there's no way mechanically to make that process notably more efficient, like get rid of the pollution involved with it. There just isn't a way of doing that.
The combustion engine has been around for decades, right? Like it's as good as it's gonna get at this point. Like we've peaked with combustion. EV batteries can be recycled. EV technology can be made better. The combustion engine is kind of as good as it's going to get. Fossil fuels, natural gas, these are finite resources that we will run out of. And then what do we do, Jess? What do we do?
You believe that we're going to run out of oil and gas?
Wait.
Do you know what the fossil and fossil fuels stands for? We're like we don't just make oil. There's not like an oil wizard in the back of a Target just like creating oil. We will run out of it.
Just where does oil come from?
The ground.
But how did it get there?
Fossils.
Are you troll? Okay, listen, Jess. All right, I'm sure you're fucking around a little bit. Which okay, I'm glad you're having your fun.
Yeah, right here. I was curious too. It says the remains of plants and animals.
Oil was my stage name.
Yep, decaying biomaterial. In the right conditions, it becomes that. A lot of
When I say fossils, I don't literally mean the bones of dinosaurs. People.
No.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, there are. Yeah, I mean, dinosaur remains have created oil. Not a lot of it, but some.
How do you guys feel about the manufacturing of an electric car or car batteries? Do you guys think that won't cause like pollution or like such as what's used in the batteries?
It will. It will, but it's been improving pretty significantly over time. Developing the batteries and how efficiently they're developed has improved pretty significantly. And the cool thing is that batteries are reusable technology in batteries has been improving significantly. The lifespan of batteries has been improving significantly. The recharge efficiency has been improving significantly. So
about 5% of the world's batteries are currently recycled.
Say what?
I said only about 5% of the world's batteries are currently recycled.
No, okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have clarified. That when I say like okay, well, when batteries can be recycled in a broader sense, period. But I'm more talking about like the lifespan of a battery. Like you can recharge batteries.
Okay, no, yeah, of course, no, okay, recharge batteries. Yeah, that's what. But I'm talking about the manufacturing of, like, what pollution comes with manufacturing batteries. Because in Earth.org, like the Philippines had to shut down 23 mines by producing nickel and cobalt because of the environmental degradation.
Degradation. Yeah. No, and that's a balancing act that we have to play, and I think any conscientious administration should pay attention to that, and should be okay with cutting some of the loose corners on our economic cloth that might have a small deleterious impact on the economy, but aren't that impactful largely compared to the impact of not paying attention to climate issues. That's what I think is really, really important to do. And I don't like the fact that the Trump administration has and will continue to, were he to be reelected, ignore a lot of those important climate concerns because his voter base is just completely delusional. They live in another reality when it comes to anything climate related.
Jeremiah, at this point, I am almost entirely certain that you're kind of just, and also because I've heard your keyboard clack a couple times, that you are just frantically Googling things to try to like find some hill to die on. At this point, my guy, like, come on.
What is the problem?
You haven't really like found anything at all substantial.
It's at the topic about how EVs would be better for the environment if manufacturing the batteries is just as bad, or if not, could be worse than gasoline.
But I already addressed that, talking about how, yes, in the short term directly, manufacturing batteries initially have some pretty significant effects on the climate. And actually some other negative impacts, like there's humanitarian issues with a lot of the ways in which we produce batteries. But those can be changed and altered over time, and we can also increase the efficiency of batteries, the way they're recharged, things like that over time, their lifespan over time. We can do all those things, and we're on a good projection for all that technological development. There's not really a way to do that with fossil fuels, not even theoretically a way to do that with fossil fuels meaningfully, because again, it's a really rudimentary process of blowing shit up. That's what it is. And it works consistently, but it doesn't have that same developmental projection that other technologies have.
You have to think real life here, because not everyone's going to want to keep the same car forever. There's a lot of people that want new cars. They're going to have to make new cars. They're going to have to make new batteries. Not everyone's going to keep the same car forever. Like, I'm not going to want the same car forever.
That's fine, but and I think someone said in the comments, I don't know, I'm not going to necessarily say that a comment is 100% correct, but it does seem that that EV batteries have a pretty high success in being recycled from like 85 to 90% of the time. So you can recycle those.
Actually, fact, because
are recycled.
What's that, Jess?
I don't know if that's really fact, because I know people with Teslas and there's battery issues often. They need new batteries often.
Okay, when you say often, I don't know what that means. Is it more
Like
often
within
than
a year?
more often than 10 to 15% of the
Like
people?
within a year, you will likely need a new battery.
Are you being honest about that?
I'm being honest about that.
So 50% of Teslas bought off the production line need a new battery in a year? Is that really the claim you're making?
Yeah.
No one would fucking buy a Tesla. Those batteries cost like
The thing is, they
$10,000.
will bring you a new battery. If you
I
have
don't
a
believe that
battery
either.
issue on a Tesla, they will bring you. a new
They might
battery.
give you a warranty for it. Tesla's experience.
But yeah, like Jess said, I mean, like she said, you're going to need to get a new battery, and that goes back into
Oh boy, how common is battery replacement on a Tesla vehicle? For the Tesla Model Y, 0.29%. For the Tesla Model 3, 0.34%. For the Tesla Model X, 0.79%.
Yeah, I don't like Elon, and I don't particularly want to put money in his pocket, but I've not really met anybody with a Tesla that's had battery issues. My boss drives a Tesla. He's not really had any battery issues. He's had the same one for I think the past 4 years.
The problem with Tesla is they skip everywhere else in design quality.
Yeah.
They do. They're not the best built vehicles. And yeah, Elon's a shithead, so that in of itself kind of.
But the producing of batteries.
So do you see do you see, Jess? This is why it's so frustrating how departed you are, how departed everyone is from statistical reasoning, where you hear a story and you just vaguely guess how much that applies to the broader population. You take some sample, some story you hear, and then you extrapolate that to the population without any
You did
reason.
read that I'm from Canada in your comments, didn't you?
I will concede that
I'm from
Cybertruck,
Canada.
however,
We're your neighbors. In Canada, Teslas
Fuck
do not
Canadians.
last because it's cold here. The batteries here do not last.
Why are there
Yeah,
so many
batteries-
Canadian conservatives who
batteries
like being
don't
so
last
loud
in
about
cold.
everything?
Because y'all's politics actually affect us. I don't think you guys understand or have looked into politics in any
Well,
other
one,
country.
I said conservatives. I have, but yes, American politics is far more interesting. There's a reason why everyone cares about our politics, not just because it impacts them, because it's more interesting. Because the Republican Party here is fucking deranged. But what Republican policy benefits Canadians more?
So I'm a Canadian that was looking into. I've invested over $100,000
What
in
policy?
the state last year.
What policy benefits Canadians more?
The policy that I know will help your country in comparison to.
I didn't say what helps my country. You said
country.
I didn't say what helps my country. You said that you're a neighbor and that the way we behave impacts y'all since y'all are neighbors. What policies do the Republicans support that would benefit Canadians at large?
What we're seeing, can I tell you one thing that I don't even know how to really explain it, but from what we're seeing is that Kamala is representing the same type of party that we have voted into the Canadian system. Our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has spoken the same exact way that Kamala has 3 years ago when he was re-voted in.
yes, you've been asked the same question twice already.
And
What policies that
our country
Republicans
went to
adopted-
shit when the man got re-voted in to the system. He stayed in power for an extra 3
Republican
years now.
policy is going to benefit Canada?
I'm saying that if you guys' dollar collapses the way that ours has this last 3 years, our tax system is a hot
What?
mess now.
Policy. What fucking Democratic policy would contribute to any dollar collapse?
Everything she speaks of is the same thing that we were told 3 years ago.
I need a specific example.
The gun policy, the
Wait,
immigration
how would any wait? Well, hold on. What gun
policy,
policy
the
has
tax
Harris?
policy.
Wait, no. What gun policy has Harris proposed that would collapse the dollar?
It wouldn't collapse the dollar, but her promise of it is exactly what Trudeau has stated to us.
You can say
we're
that, but
we're
you
going
need to.
have a gun buyback program. We're going to take guns off the street.
The only time she's mentioned a gun buyback program was
We're
in
going
2020. She's
to
not running on that
allow
platform.
weed to be.
Can you point
all
where in
over
her
the country.
platform?
Same thing. So weed's
Can you
legal
point-
now, not a big deal, whatever. But at the
You
end
are
of the day,
pointing
it's
to
literally
20
all the same thing. She's explaining.
I need a specific policy that would
the
attack
33%
the value
tax.
of the American dollar. Yes. What's
The
the specific policy?
33% tax.
33% tax on what?
There was a claim of a 33% tax.
On what?
Everything. It's
You're trolling. What time is it for you? Where do you live? Are you like some fucking Quebecois dumbass who's just like hopping on lives trolling people? What are you saying?
Oh my god.
I've read her entire.
I feel like you're
84
trolling.
economic
I'm not
policy.
trolling.
I've read her entire website. Like, I'm intimately familiar with her policies. What 33% tax are you talking about?
There's about to be a 33% tax.
On what? Where? Can you cite?
So in our verbiage, it was called a carbon tax. They did not propose it instantly.
Where is she talked about a carbon tax?
I see what's happening.
They didn't call it no carbon tax on your
You're
end.
saying that because this happened in Canada and she's used similar rhetoric, it's going to happen here.
The way she answers her questions, like she's literally
That is what you're saying.
our prime
Gotcha.
minister
Okay. So
in
you
y'all's
are.
country.
Gotcha. So this isn't something that Kamala Harris has actually said. You just
Yeah, no,
think it'll happen here
33%
because-
tax thing, I did read or see her
Where?
speaking of it at some point.
Where?
So in Canada now, we don't have news. We cannot view your news
we're not.
anywhere but on TikTok.
Where has Kamala Harris said this?
Also, that's not true.
I've seen it on TikTok news.
Okay, I want you to play back. We asked you for a citation where Kamala said this specific thing, and you say, I saw it on TikTok news. Why aren't you reflecting on how fucking stupid you sound when you say that?
I know it sounds insane, but all that we can see about y'all's
That's
news
not true.
in
You
any
have a
type of
browser.
politics-
You have fucking Chrome. You also have VPNs you can easily get
We
access
can't
to
look
if
this
you have
stuff
some
up no
conspiracy.
more.
Yes, you can.
No, we can't.
Yes, you can.
No,
Yes, you can.
Browser,
Jess,
it does
I'm not talking to
allow
a real
access.
human being right now. You are some fake fucking scum mirage of the intellectual filth of people who just don't act like adults. What are you doing? I want you to go,
You do
Jess.
not have
Jess,
full access
Jess,
to everything
I want
that's
you to
on the
go.
internet,
I want you to turn on your camera. I
I
want you to
know
go.
this
I want you to hold on. I
false.
want you to turn on your camera. I want you to go to your laptop. I want you to look up some disparaging thing about Harris. Let's say her record as AG and her support for keeping prisoners in order to help fight the wildfires. That's something disparaging towards Harris. If you think there's some conspiracy in order to protect Harris or the Biden administration, go to your laptop. Look that up right now. If it does not come up, I will concede the point. I'll Venmo you $100.
Also,
We
real
don't even
quick.
have Venmo.
Then
I don't
PayPal.
have any money,
I don't
but I'm telling you, we
fucking
don't even
PayPal.
have Venmo in Canada.
PayPal.
Hey,
You have
Zero
PayPal.
in the
I don't
chat has
care.
been
Do
adding
it.
me constantly. The capital gains tax that you're referring to is not part of her platform. It's never been a part of her platform. That is a Joe Biden policy platform that has been for
Joe
whatever
Biden
reason,
is Kamala.
brought forward by Republicans. It's not a real thing.
Joe Biden's been Kamala. Kamala's had decision making in everything that he's made a thing.
I'm sorry. I hate you.
traveled to the
I hate you
States.
so fucking much. I hate you so fucking much.
God.
You don't have you're either so brain dead, you don't understand anything, or you're just like having fun by saying random shit.
What's going
Stop
on,
it.
Critical?
Well, I'm going to take off and get some sleep,
What's up,
man.
man?
You have fun.
I won't, but thank you for hopping up anyway.
Yeah, you take care.
Take care, dude. Oh, Scar left too. Let's see. Scar, I don't know where you went to. You just dropped. But I don't have any patience for that anymore. I think just Canadians are bored in their fucking cold ass environment, so they just hop on to talk about American politics without any understanding of how it works, and just fuck with people. What's up, Musketeer? Musketeer, you here? You present? Guess not. No. Now obviously, like, I can't. I should have a low standard for people on TikTok because I've actually talked to intelligent conservatives outside of this sphere, but I don't know why they're so absent on this app. I mean, it makes sense. If you're
Hello?
scrolling late at night, you're probably not the best demographic for intelligence. What's up, Stig?
So, what end of the stick are you on?
What end of the stick?
Yes.
What does that mean? Are you asking if I'm Democrat or Republican, or what are you asking?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking.
Do you know what a greater than sign means, colloquially? It means I think Kamala is greater than Trump.
Oh, my screen's kind of all fucked up. It's green at the top. It's got a hardware issue.
Oh, that sucks.
Anyways.
I'm sorry.
I think Kamala Harris looks weak.
Kamala.
Like
why is
on the
that?
global stage, I feel like she's just a failure.
Why is that?
Okay, you can roll your eyes like that all you want, but
That wasn't that. That
it looks
that was
fucking stupid.
that was literally because my eyes are dry. Not even because of.
Yes, I'm sure.
If I'm rolling my eyes, I'll do this. If I'm actually annoyed, but if I'm just doing this, that just means that I'm.
I think anytime she presents herself,
Gonna get moisture because my
she just looks
my
like
little
an idiot.
oil ducts in my eyelashes don't work. By the way, they're
Okay,
literally.
you're yapping. I want to talk about.
I'm just defending
important stuff.
myself, and I'm tired. So yeah, make your point.
Okay, I think she's gonna drive this country right into the ground. Just take a fat shit on it.
How's that?
Because look at her. Two wars under her administration. What did we have
Wasn't
under
her
Trump?
administration? It was
Nothing.
Biden's. What
Y'all
did she do?
are just
What did her and
fear
Biden
mongering
do?
with Trump.
What did her and Biden do?
What did Joe Biden do? Fucking jack all the prices up,
How did he do that?
and then,
How did he do that?
guys, fucking unemployment handled COVID like shit. I mean, I feel like after COVID, all the kids are retarded.
Why do you have to? Why do you have to say slurs, man? It's not that hard to not say slurs. Incredibly easy to be responsible with your language. Actually, takes actually no effort to speak in ways which are responsible. Yeah, no. The actual answer to all of what he was saying is you can't tie any of the geopolitical issues to any specific action done by Biden or by Harris. The funny thing is you can tie at least a couple of the instances of geopolitical instability that occurred over the past couple of years to actions by Trump. If you want to look at what he did with the Abraham Accords or what he did with moving the embassy, that contributed to the issues in Israel-Palestine. There's a lot of issues you could point to there. Rose, what's up? Playboy Cardi winning the election by a landslide. Honestly, I would, it's not the worst outcome of the election. I would take a Playboy Cardi president over a Trump president. Honestly. Rose, I can't hear you when you're out of the app. You want to have a conversation? I guess not. All right. Any Trump supporters, you want to talk? You want to have a conversation? Holy voice crack. Let's get to 40,000 likes, y'all, and see if we can get in at least a couple more people. Maybe not. It might be winding down. It's pretty late. But it is now where I'm at, election day, 12:37. So we're now at the final stretch of figuring out who's going to be president, and hopefully it will be pretty clear within the next 24 hours. If not, then it's pretty unfortunate. God, there's a whole little band of racists in the chat. Kamala's not Jamaican. I'm half. She ain't no bumblecut Jamaican. What are you talking about? Jess, stop being a fucking troll. Should am I voting in Minnesota? A lot of racists. I think a lot of people are just, I don't know, they're brain dead, mentally defective, or just disaffected about everything, and they just feel like nothing matters, so they're nihilistic little fucks who don't really care about the impacts of their actions. Tends to be the thing, unfortunately. Out of the last four presidents who had the best foreign policy, Biden, if you're not counting Biden, I don't know. Funny enough, with Obama and Bush, I might give it to Clinton, actually. I don't know. Clinton did have some pretty bad foreign policy stuff, too, but that's not a great barrel of people to choose from. The U.S. foreign policy, The whole neocon foreign policy approach that's been happening for the past few decades is just terrible. It's just completely terrible. It sucks. Bro, what is Kamala bringing to the table versus Trump? Pretty obvious things, in that she actually has a developed, cohesive set of policy proposals which look to attack specific economic issues, whether it's medical costs, whether it's housing and her $25,000 down payment support plan, whether it's building hundreds of thousands of new homes. There's a lot of things you can point to when it comes to just policy cohesion that Trump does not have. Trump doesn't have a cohesive, detailed policy plan. It's like specific, vague platitudes that sound appealing, but Trump doesn't have a roadmap on how to actually achieve those specific proposals. And also, she doesn't have the moral nor political failures attributed to Trump, whether it's all the shit he's done with women or whatever, or January 6th, which in and of itself, January 6th should be disqualifying for anybody from any point, any area in the political spectrum. So, Jess, read one book, read one bit of information, educate yourself on one thing mildly. The fact that you didn't even you have to be like third grade reading level. The fact you didn't understand what I was even asking when I was talking about how fuel is used to generate energy, even in the most basic elementary sense. Just unhinged. Just unhinged. Oh God. I am sleepy. I don't know how much longer I can go. The Trump supporters are, I think there might be another live going that they're all flocking to or something. Who knows? So it might be about time to call it. Trump supporters not wanting to hop in the box, unfortunately. All right, cool. I guess I'll call it for the evening. I'll probably hop on live tomorrow a few times, have some chats, have some conversations, probably hop on other people's lives too. Again, to everyone, if you haven't voted, make sure you vote. Make sure you encourage other people around you to vote. There's all different ways you can look if you're uncertain of how to. You can go to I Will Vote or vote.org or a lot of other shit. There's a lot of ways to equip you for that. In my mind, with the information I've gained, this is the most significant election of the past 40 years, and it needs to be seen that way by everybody involved. So, yeah. All right. Get out there, vote, y'all. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully the more positive recent projections are going to come true. If not, it'll be a rough next 4 years with whatever the outcome is. But, all right. Take care, y'all. Have a good night.